Hey guys, this little snippet isn't a lesson. It's going to be creatively titled "An Inconvenient Truth." You can first off, you can see on my hand that I've been airbrushing, and you can see the pressure adjustments that have been made. And if you've watched the previous videos, you'll recognise the telltale work-throughs to make sure that I've got the pressure right for working, and hopefully this will become a really useful thing for you to do. You can see many times, for example, had I gone to the model, even with my experience, I'd have screwed it up. So the old hand as a canvas is about as good as it gets, in my opinion. When you're airbrushing, and I've watched a lot of tutorials of actual painting on YouTube, and what I think is really amusing is they're either deliberately designed to get instant gratification, so you're painting an Infinity Mini or a Space Marine or some skin or something like that, and it's very easy to go, ooh, wow, that's an amazing effect, and aren't I an amazing artist? But the more advanced you get, and when you start working on competition pieces and everything else, you get an inconvenient truth, especially that doesn't translate to videos. Sorry, there should be something on the, rather, just a wall. And that is that just like when you paint with a brush, models often look really shit until you actually get to a point where you've put the hours in, despite your skill and your preparation. Now, I'm not going to video the whole process of Gorfang. Gorfang's going to be a competition piece, and I don't want to spend, I need to concentrate on painting it rather than concentrate on making a good video while I'm painting it. But I've just done some time on Gorfang. And these are the pre-shades for the brush work that I'm going to follow with, and the airbrush work that I'm going to follow with in terms of scaling and everything else. So we left it pretty much pure white with the pink and the undertones on, and then whoa, it's changed a lot, obviously. But it dawned on me at this stage how crap it looks. So I'm gonna talk you through the roadmap and that mental block of actually getting on with it. So you've got some of the existing white here that we left on, but you've already started to get that washed out by the color that's been applied. So let's do the lower blends and then the upper blends. So the color on the belly is the more flesh tone color. So you can see we run from flesh tone into quite a stark purple, deep red, light red, orange, and then yellow. Now that's it's a very small model, if you can see my finger, in terms of the fact that it's actually a dragon. But all these colours will be accentuated with brush wet blending later, but it's nice to get that kind of flow of colouring. And then you can see what I've started to do is block in the flesh around the softer parts of Gorfang's face. And then I followed that through the upper transition to delineate where I'm going to put the base of the red. So I want Gorfang to be a red and white snake, because the rider is a stone orc or a winter orc, so he's grey. The banners will be fairly plain. The tower is grey stone and water and bushes, and I really want Gorfang to look as he is, venomous and loud and a particularly nasty thing. And the way to do that, as is in nature, is with some fairly stark colour contrasts. On the flip side, however, you'll see it's really dark compared to the others. And we talked about the pre-shading, we talked about the highlighting, so the light sources coming from here. If we turn it around, you can see a fairly stark difference. And that's nice to see. Even if we roll it around, you've got all the blends that run underneath, and then the white starts again. Now, what I intend to do is some fairly creative stuff with stencils and some pressure jiggling, which I'm not going to do as a lesson because I need to really concentrate on it, as I talked about before. So all of this pinky red that I have marked out isn't the colour that Gorfang will be at all. Obviously you've seen how much this model has changed already. Actually, that's quite nice in the light of the windowsill. There's the ice cream man in the background, to see the flow of the transitions. The scales on the top of Gorfang are actually going to be quite dark, a very deep desaturated red. We don't want any comic book looking models. So the way the purple is here, rolling into the deep red, the final scale colour on the top is going to be quite an aggressive red, quite a dark desaturated aggressive red. But by putting this pink red Actually, it's actually a dark red, but it's a very light thin coat on top of white. By putting this pink candy colour underneath, and we'll talk over candy colours in another episode, it allows me to use a stencil, and that will be the line marking between the scales. So obviously stencils leave quite stark transitions, and if I'd have left it white, it would have gone instantly, and it would look like from white to red, and it would have looked like a giraffe, and we don't want that. So this is the transitional fade to allow it to sort of realistically bleed into the stenciling for the scales, which I'm going to put on the pattern of the snake, and then I'm going to go in and finish up each individual scale with a brush. So as we talked about, I love to do the combination of brush and airbrush, but I thought it was really important to show this because some of you may think that it looks great. I don't know. Some of you may think it's really interesting in terms of the way the colours blend into each other, and that is educational, I suppose. I always look at a project at this stage and just think, wow, that looks shit. And the sort of mark of a painter is knowing what your outcome is going to be and just pushing on and doing it. Because if I looked at that and I didn't know where I was going with it, I would probably think I'd just ruined a 160 quid model. Well, hopefully I haven't, but we'll wait and see. What I've also done really finely with the colours is start to put the veining in on these veins, and so it's possible to get really fine with an airbrush if you know what you're doing. And I've used flesh tone to trace all of the veins, and then I'm going to glaze the veins down so the veins stand out a different colour. And I will soften all this white back in again, but with brush glazing. So I'll put layer after layer after layer of extremely thin white paint on, which will just sort of create the blend between the white line and the soft flesh tone line that I actually want. Okay, that's the last bit of waffling I'm going to do today. I hope you found my honesty refreshing and quite interesting. And let's just wait and see together if it actually looks any good when it's done. Cheers, mate.